Hello everyone, welcome to the Anime Recap Media YouTube channel. Please like the video, subscribe to help our channel and enjoy this full video.
Eren Yeager is awoken from a nightmare about a giant titan by Mikasa, and upon returning to Shiganshina and outlier district of Wall Maria, Eren reprimands a guard, Mr. Hans, for drinking on duty, afterward expressing his fascination with a returning scout unit who have obviously been through hell. Upon returning home, Eren's father leaves and Eren runs away after an argument with his mother about joining the scouts. Later, their friend Armin talks about how the walls which protect humanity from titans haven't been breached in 100 years, but that's no guarantee of safety when the titan from Eren's nightmare mysteriously appears, destroying the gate part of the wall. Eren's house was destroyed by the attack, leaving his mother crushed, so him and Mikasa try to save her before an approaching titan arrives. Mr. Hans then arrives, taking the kids away as Eren's mother is traumatically eaten before his eyes. Massive backups of people occur as the populace try to flee and the guards decide to close the gate to protect the rest of the city, but an armored titan appears, crashing through the gate and Wall Maria, forcing mankind to fall back to Wall Rose. A year passes and about 20% of the world's population are sent to reclaim Wall Maria and most die, thus solving a food shortage issue, and a year after that, the three kids join up for the 104th Cadet Corps. 2 years later, the cadets train in hand-to-hand, Eren getting his butt whooped by Annie, and finally complete their training, then being able to choose their group, the Garrison Scouts or Military Police Regiment. Eren decides on the Scouts, obviously, followed by Armin and Mikasa. Later, the giant titan appears once more, kicking a hole in the wall once again. This time, Eren engages the colossal titan, but it mysteriously disappears. A military plan of action is made as tensions run high as Mikasa and Eren are separated. Eren's group moves out to battle the titans and are decimated. A titan then goes to eat Armin, but Eren saves him, taking his place in its mouth, getting swallowed whole by the creature. In the hysteria, the townspeople are blocked from the only escape route by a trader's wagon, being attacked by a titan and being saved by Mikasa, who afterward flashes back to her parents' murder and her kidnapping, being saved by Eren and taken in by his parents. Mikasa finds Armin's group and she learns of Eren's fate, but motivates the others to move. Unfortunately, her grief manifests itself physically and her gear runs out of gas as she is attacked by a titan. She almost gives up her will to live, but memories of Eren motivate her to avoid the titan when another comes along. This titan, however, kills the other one, saving her as the soldiers make their way to headquarters. Meanwhile, Armin makes a plan to use the fighting titan to help them. Upon arriving at HQ, the titan kicks the crap out of the others around HQ, while Armin makes a plan to clear the storeroom so they can fuel up their gear, which succeeds. The fighting titan finally reaches its limits, killing its foes but falling dead. However, the body begins to steam away and an unconscious Eren surfaces at the neck of the titan's body and is reunited with Mikasa. The scouts return from their recon and the skilled Captain Levi annihilates a number of titans while Mikasa and Armin protect Eren from fearful soldiers ready to kill them at any moment. After a tension-filled standoff, the commander orders the cannon to fire. Eren, however, partially transforms into a titan, catching the cannonball, saving Mikasa and Eren. Eren emerges from the incomplete titan body worn out as Armin, who until now thought of himself as a burden, sways many soldiers to let them live, but the hysterical captain doesn't bite. Luckily, Commander Pixis arrives to hear them out and he makes a plan to use Eren to seal the hole in the wall with a giant boulder. Pixis announces the plan to the army, introducing Eren and his ability to his friend's surprise. The majority of soldiers lure the titans away as Eren's group moves to move the boulder and he transforms but attacks Mikasa and accidentally knocks himself out. The soldiers decide to protect him from oncoming titans while Armin shows up to wake him up. Jean makes a daring escape from some titans with help from his friends due to an equipment malfunction when they notice that giant Eren has regained consciousness, carrying the boulder toward the hole in the wall. The soldiers rally up, protecting Eren from other titans, and they succeed in sealing the wall with the boulder. The titans remaining within the wall are summarily dispatched and cleanup of the dead is somberly commenced. Days later, Dallas Zachary arrives to deliberate on Eren's fate and which regiment should take charge of him. Commander Erwin proposes that they use him to retake Wall Maria while others think he should be killed. Eren, who should probably keep his mouth shut, screams at the detractors, calling them cowards, but Levi violently shuts him up and Zachary agrees to let him take part in a trial scouting mission. We are then introduced to a number of elite scouts, including Hanji, in charge of studying captured titans, who spends an entire night telling Eren everything she knows when they are informed that the captured titans they had were killed. Cadets are questioned to find the culprit as they decide which regiment they join, and Erwin speaks to the prospective scouts, stating most of them will probably die and most end up leaving. The 57th exterior scouting mission commences using an ingenious formation to avoid regular Titans during their travels using smoke signals. Seemingly intelligent female Titan comes running through the formation, followed by many regulars who wipe out part of the right wing. She defeats the section commander near Armin, but mysteriously lets Armin live after checking his face. Because of this, Armin deduces that she is looking for somebody, probably Eren, who is at the center of the formation. Jean meets up with Reiner and Armin, and they move to distract the female Titan but fail. Krista brings horses to Armin's group, saving them, while the female Titan continues her rampage and word reaches the center about the right wing's fall. Instead of calling off the mission, Erwin leads them into a forest of giant trees. Eren's group ride through the middle and are chased by the female Titan. Levi tells them to keep riding while reinforcements are killed off, Eren contemplating turning into a Titan. Levi and Petra talk with them about it as we flash back to trust building within the group, so Eren decides not to transform into the Titan as the female Titan catches up with them, being caught in Erwin's trap, catching her alive. At the entrance to the forest, Titans begin climbing the trees to get the scouts. Erwin's group tries to cut her hands, covering her neck, but they learn that she can harden areas of her skin. The female Titan screams, which calls in many other Titans from everywhere who begin eating her, causing Erwin to call off the mission, deducing that the person in the female Titan's body is now among them, as one of their own kills Gunther. Armin deduces that the special Titans were with them when Eren first turned into a Titan, as Eren's group runs away from the retransformed female Titan. His teammates turn to expertly hold her off so Eren could escape, and they almost win, but their lack of knowledge of her abilities leads to their tragic deaths. Eren, enraged, finally resorts to transforming, bent on vengeance, full of regret from not doing so earlier, battling the other Titan. However, it's clear the female is superior in every way and he loses, the female devouring him just in time for Mikasa to arrive and pursue, showing off her skill when Levi arrives. Levi shows how far beyond its skill he is to most others, and they successfully retrieve Eren, and they all set off, leaving the female Titan alive, priority 1 keeping Eren alive. Annie is pulled to the side by Armin, who asks for her help escaping Eren, and she accepts, with Jean acting as Eren's decoy. They make it through to an underground area which Annie refuses to go down, and it all ends up being a trap for her because she is the female Titan and transforms. Eren, Armin, and Mikasa become trapped in the tunnels by Annie, and Eren tries transforming but can't, trying to come to terms with Annie being the female Titan. They split up, but Annie smashes through the ground, covering Eren in rubble while Mikasa takes her on. Erwin prepares to move in too, but is stopped by the military police. Armin gives Eren a pep talk, and Jean leads Annie to a trap by Hanji, but she breaks free as Eren finally is able to transform. Eren chases Annie through the city, causing massive destruction and many deaths as the police arrest Commander Erwin. The Titans brutally fight as Annie thinks of her father desperately trying to escape, climbing up the wall, but Mikasa cuts her fingers off and Eren punches her head clean off. However, Eren freezes upon seeing her human form, and before she can be captured, Annie encases herself in a hardened cocoon, rendering her useless to them. Erwin is then questioned about the operation, and he convinces them that it was a big step forward for humanity, and some others talk about the futility of it in the end. The scouts are then put in charge of Annie, looking to what the future may hold, ending Season 1 of Attack on Titan.
Starting from where we left off, in the aftermath of Eren's battle with Annie, the scouts discovered that the crack left behind on the wall by Annie when she tried to climb it has a Titan inside of it. Hester Nick quickly tells the scouts to cover the Titan up so it isn't exposed to the sunlight. Afterwards, Section Commander Hanji would interrogate him but receive no answers from him. Flashback to 12 hours ago where the remaining scouts are doing nothing, but when numerous Titans appeared, they set out to warn the inhabitants around the area about a breach in Warros. They split into groups while Section Commander Mike goes to slow down the Titans. Now back in the present, he has successfully killed off multiple Titans and brought enough time for the other scouts as Armin informs Eren and Mikasa about the Titans. When Mike was about to leave, a beast-like Titan appears and attacks him, taking his gear and leaving him to be killed by the other Titans that apparently the Beast Titan can control. Then we cut to Armin proposing that the walls protecting them are made up of hardened Titan skin, similar to the cocoon Annie made. Now cut to Connie and Rainer. They arrive at his hometown to find it destroyed and abandoned. At his house, they encountered a mysterious malformed Titan lying on top of it and realized something even more mysterious. There are no bodies of the dead anywhere. Sometime later, another group consisting of Krista and Ymir follow along the wall in order to find the breach, and when they gather back together, to their surprise, there was no breach in the wall. They would come upon an abandoned castle and decide to take refuge inside it for the night. Back with Eren and the rest of the scouts, Hanji would explain and consolidate Armin's theory that the wall is made up of hardened titan skin, so they plan to use Eren to seal up Wall Maria. When Pastor Nick saw all the refugees, he still didn't reveal any secrets to them, but only told them about the person they are instructed to monitor over, that being Krista, as Sasha came in to deliver a message to Hanji. Back with the scouts at the abandoned castle, they are attacked by titans that are able to move during the night as the beast titan from earlier climbs on top of the wall. Back with the fighting, the elite scouts manage to fend off the titans, but when more arrive, the elites are killed off, leaving only the 104th stranded on top of the castle tower. Hopeless and with nowhere to go, Ymir decides to jump off the tower and reveals that she is a titan. Flashback to their cadet training days when they were training in the blistering cold winter. Krista and Ymir would become stranded far from their base. However, through Ymir's bitter assumption, she discovers that Krista had no intention of saving their injured comrade Daz and wishes to resign herself to death, because it's revealed that she's an illegitimate child of a noble family and that she had to go into hiding. Ymir then secretly turns herself into a titan to save Daz, and they would make a promise with each other. Back in the present, Ymir manages to protect the others long enough until Levi and his group arrives to save them. She would pass out while Krista reveals her real name to be Historia, fulfilling their promise. As everyone is recovering in the present, we flash back to 12 hours earlier to reveal that the scouts had already deduced Reiner may have helped Annie find Eren during the 57th scouting mission. Reiner then nonchalantly reveals to Eren that he and Bertolt are the colossal and armored titans sent to destroy humanity, and Eren should leave with them to avoid any more bloodshed. Eren obviously refuses their offer while Mikasa quickly attacks them, forcing Reiner and Bertolt to transform, grabbing Eren and Ymir. But not giving up without a fight, Eren would transform into his titan form as well. While Eren was fighting against Reiner, the scouts tried to attack the colossal titan but couldn't move in because he had enveloped himself in hot steam. When it was looking like Eren was losing, he remembers the moves that Annie used before to turn the tables on Reiner. However, on the verge of victory, the colossal titan falls on them and they quickly escape with Eren and Ymir. While the rest of the injured scouts were recovering, Mikasa remembers her childhood with Eren and wakes up to find that it has been 5 hours since Eren was taken. Commander Erwin arrives with the reinforcements and they set off to a giant forest, assuming that it would be the best possible place for them to take Eren. Eren then wakes up to see Ymir along with Reiner and Bertolt, who are waiting for the sun to set so they can move out. While Eren and Ymir are healing their limbs, they discover that Reiner seems to be suffering from some kind of PTSD where he has apparently mixed up his real identity and the one that he is pretending to be. While Eren is raging at the both of them, the scouts are finally coming into view and closing in on them. Reiner convinces Ymir to join them and she agrees to, but only on the condition that they take Krista with them. While Reiner is struggling with Eren, Bertolt questions Ymir about her memories 5 years ago and whether she remembers about eating one of their comrades. She doesn't remember and revealed that she has wandered around in her titan form for over 60 years. They quickly set out to distance themselves from the approaching scouts when Ymir realizes that Krista is with the scouts. Despite Reiner's objection to take Krista, she doesn't listen and transform into a titan form, going straight for Krista and taking her. Reiner quickly transforms into his own titan form and tries to run away from the scouts. While on Reiner's back, Ymir explains to Krista that they are better off living outside of the walls and that she has to join them so that she won't be killed by them, but despite all that, her motives are still very unclear. The scouts finally caught up to Reiner and all the members of the 104th lands on top of Reiner trying to convince them to give up and return Eren. However, their conversation is cut short when Commander Erwin had flanked Reiner from the front while bringing with him a horde of titans. The titans attack Reiner while the scouts rush in to save Eren. Their attack was successful, but there were a lot of casualties and Erwin lost one of his arms. Desperate to recover Eren, Reiner starts throwing the titans at the scouts. One of the titans lands at where Eren and Mikasa are, causing them to fall. After the smoke clears, the same titan that had devoured Eren's mother from the beginning appears and attacks them, but Captain Harness arrives just in time to protect the both of them. Reiner continues to throw the titans at the scouts while Eren desperately tries to transform into his titan form to help Harness. Unable to transform, Harness is killed by the titan in front of the both of them, causing Eren to completely give up on himself, but in a hugely emotional scene. Mikasa inspired him to persevere and keep on fighting. Filled with emotion, he unknowingly unlocked the ability to control the nearby titans to attack and devour the titan that had killed his mother and Harness, avenging the both of them. Eren and Mikasa quickly take the chance to run away. However, when Reiner approaches them, the Titans all turn their attention to Reiner and attack him. Despite being confused by what is happening, Erwin orders all the scouts to take the opportunity to escape. While escaping, Ymir apologizes to Krista and turns back around to help Reiner, intent on following them back to their homeland. And Section Commander Hanji and Connie would visit Commander Erwin in order to deliver a report to him about their findings regarding the Titans that had appeared from the recent incident. Meanwhile, Eren is blaming himself for the deaths of the numerous elite members in the scouting regiment, but Armin tells him that they did not suffer any losses when they were escaping though. Because of that, Armin and Jin had theorized that Eren has the ability to control the Titans, and he now vows to use this new power to take back Wall Maria. Back with Erwin, Hanji and Connie have concluded that the Titans in the recent incident are in fact actual humans that have been transformed into Titans. Levi contemplates that he has been killing humans all along, as Erwin declares that they are another step closer to uncovering the truth about the world. We then get a closing shot of the Beast Titan on top of the wall with a blonde dude standing on it as Season 2 of Attack on Titan ends.
Season 3 starts with the Uprising arc, which is where things get admittedly pretty complicated. The 104th is tidying up a cottage and talking amongst themselves. They've all been chosen as the new Squad Levi, charged with the protection of Eren and Historia. Levi shows up and discusses with Erwin about how Eren can't figure out how to harden, and they may need to abandon the basement plan for now in favor of figuring out what Pastor Nick meant by Historia being the only one who can know the truth of the walls. The Reese family is a group of nobles in the capital district, and Historia is the illegitimate daughter of their leader, Rod Reese, so getting them to cooperate wouldn't be easy either. The real question is why some group of nobles will be the ones who hold the secrets of the walls. Meanwhile, Pastor Nick has been murdered. Hanji figures out it was the royal guards who killed him, meaning that whoever wanted Nick dead has some major influence in both the military and the Church of the Walls. This person also must not want the connection between the Church and the Reese family to be known. Since Pastor Nick was riding with Hanji in the last season, the Church and the military have reason to suspect the Survey Corps might know too much, so the scouts make the decision to split up and track down exactly who is after them and take them out. They split up. Levi will take some men and figure out who's behind all this, and Hanji will go to protect and inform Erwin, because they'll probably be after him as well. Squad Levi walks through the city, and suddenly, Historia and Eren are taken. It's not actually them though, it's Armin and John in disguise. Levi heads off to go protect the real Eren and Historia and leaves Mikasa to deal with the kidnappers. Levi springs into action but is stopped by an old friend who's working with the Royal Guard, Kenny the Ripper, who's actually his uncle. Kenny's squad attempts to kidnap the real Eren and Mikasa, and Levi tries to beat Kenny to Eren, and a few scouts catch up to him as well. They make it under the cart but are unable to save them. Meanwhile, the king's advisors talk about their plans to shut down the scouts. Back to Squad Levi, they've captured a man named Demo Reeves, who's a mob boss with connections to the military. They interrogate him to find out where Eren and Historia were taken. He doesn't know, but he says that he might know some royal guards who might. Reeves helps Levi kidnap them, and then Levi and Hanji torture the men. One of the men, Sanus, eventually reveals that the Fritz are not actually the royal family. They're simply the puppet kings for the actual royal family, the Reeses, meaning the true successor to the throne is Historia. Therefore, Eren and Historia are likely wherever the leader of the family, Rod Reese, is. Back amongst the scouts, Hanji speculates about the fact that Eren told them Ymir ate one of Reiner and Bertholdt's friends before she became a shifter. They conclude that Titan powers are transferred when a normal Titan eats a Titan shifter. That Titan turns back into their human form, but they'll inherit the powers of the shifter they ate. The whole group realizes at once what this means. The Reese family is planning to have a Titan eat Eren so they can obtain his powers. Historia is with her father once again, and he says he's sorry for everything she went through, but he needs her for something important. Erwin tells him that after doing a lot of research, he believes that when the walls were created 107 years ago, the king somehow altered everyone's memories so that he could control them, which is why no one knows what life was like before the appearance of the Titans. The power Eren used to control the Titans may be the key, and if the Reese family gets a hold of it, they could wipe everyone's memory again. Pixis gives his approval and leaves. Just then a scout barges in, informing Erwin that the military has framed him for murder, and he has to turn himself in. Erwin complies and trusts Hanji to complete the plan before he dies. Levi interrogates another military police member about Eren and Historia's location, but he says he doesn't know, stating that Kenny is a very cautious man. Erwin is brought before the king and his council to see if he has any last words before he's moved to the noose. Very long story short, Erwin and Pixis together use this moment to trick the Supreme Council into confessing that they would kill every citizen within Wall Maria if it meant keeping power for themselves. This sparks the garrison unit to rebel, overthrowing the military police. The charges against the scouts and Erwin are dropped, and word begins to spread all throughout the city that King Fritz is a fraud. The throne now sits empty, but it would mean nothing if Rod Reese gets his hands on Eren's power and alters everyone's memories once again. Meanwhile, Eren wakes up in a room made entirely of crystal. He's bound onto his knees and gagged, rendering him completely unable to move. Standing before him is Historia and Rod. Somehow Eren recognizes this location, even though he's never been here. Rod and Historia extend their hands and touch Eren's back. Instantly, his mind is flooded with memories. But they're not his memories, they're his father's. He sees his father arriving in the City of Walls from the outside, and an unknown man greeting him. Then, He sees that years later, his father infiltrated the current location, revealing that it was no fire that killed Rod Reese's family, but Grisha. Aaron's father was a Titan shifter who used his abilities to steal the Titan powers from Rod's oldest daughter, Frida. Frida possessed the greatest Titan power of them all, something called the Founding Titan, which possesses the ability to control all normal Titans, a power known as the Coordinate. This Titan also has the ability to alter people's memories, among many other things. The Founding Titan was the ability of the original king of the walls 107 years ago, and it can only be used by a person with royal blood. However, Grisha stole it. The last thing Aaron sees is himself as a boy turn into a Titan and eat Grisha. Aaron became a Titan shifter by eating his father, gaining both his father's Titan powers and the latent abilities of the Founding Titan. Once Aaron snaps out of it, Kenny appears, informing Rod that all the scouts are approaching. Rod tells Kenny to take his team and deal with them. Rod brings out a syringe and brings it to Historia. Aaron recognizes it as the same kind that turned him into a Titan. The scouts rush into the building and begin to fight Kenny's men. Back in the altar room, Rod discloses his intentions to Historia. He will transform her into a Titan and eat Aaron, reclaiming the Founding Titan for the royal bloodline, allowing her to use the Coordinate. There's one catch though. Every member of the royal family throughout the generations who received the power of the Founding Titan also receives all the memories of the original king. Just then, Kenny appears again, and he exposes Rod to Historia, saying that the whole "end this hell" speech is a load of crap. He just wants her to get the Coordinate powers so he can manipulate her into wiping everyone's memory and stop the uprising. Historia holds a Titan serum to her arm, but asks Aaron why he doesn't just transform and escape. Aaron replies that he thinks she should do it. She should eat him and learn the truth of the world. If his sacrifice can give humanity a chance at victory, it's worth it. Historia smashes the bottle on the ground, rejecting her father, who crawls on the ground and licks up the Titan serum. Rod begins to transform into a Titan at the same time the scouts burst into the room. Rod's Titan becomes so massive that the room starts to collapse. However, Aaron finds a small bottle labeled armor and drinks it. Aaron wakes up realizing that he has successfully used hardening to stop the cave from collapsing, meaning that they now have the ability to seal the hole in Wall Maria. However, for the time being, Rod Reese has transformed into a giant Titan, and he's crawling toward the main city. The scouts chase after it, but they can't get near him because it's so hot, so they ride past it and wait at the Overd district. The cannons on top of the wall shoot at Rod, but they don't affect him, so they come up with the idea to grab a bunch of barrels of gunpowder, and they'll throw him down his throat. Rod climbs all the way up to the wall, and Aaron transforms and throws the gunpowder down Rod's throat. Pieces of his body go flying and everyone scatters, trying to find the nape of the neck. Historia finds the nape and slices it, killing her father. She lands amongst the people and announces her identity as the true ruler of the walls. Returning to the site where Rod transforms, Levi finds Kenny dying. Kenny and Levi have a heart-to-heart, and Kenny gives Levi one single shot of Titan serum that he stole from Rod before he dies. Sometime later, Historia is officially crowned as Queen of the Walls, and all the people love her. Meanwhile, over in the ruins of Shinganshina district, Raynor has just gotten his butt handed to him by the Beast Titan. The Beast Titan tells Raynor that if he wants to question his authority again, well, here's the result. If he doesn't, they'll continue with the plan to wait there for Aaron and the scouts to show up so that they can claim the Coordinate once and for all. Meanwhile, all the kids are having dinner together, and John suggests that they figure out who the man Aaron saw in his father's memories is, because he might have some answers. After thinking about it for a moment, Aaron realizes who that man is. It's their academy instructor and the old commander of the scouts, Keith Shadis. And so the gang gets their things ready and they go to meet with him. They sit down with him and Aaron asks if he knows anything about Aaron's father. He says he honestly doesn't know anything, but there is one story he can tell them. 20 years ago, on the way back from a mission, he met Grisha outside of the walls, who claimed he didn't know how he got there. The two bonded and became close friends, however, over the years they drifted apart. They ran into each other again shortly after the colossal titan broke through the wall. Grisha was running off with Aaron into the forest, and Keith ended up following them. When he got there, he only found Aaron and took him back into the city. Keith then remembers back to when Aaron was in training, and he was the one who tampered with Aaron's equipment, hoping to save him from becoming a scout. Their conversation ends and they all leave. Everyone theorizes about Keith's story, and why Grisha was outside the walls that day. And of course, they all wonder about what exactly could be in Grisha's basement. But everyone concludes that sitting around won't do anything, they have to just go there. So they decide that the plan to retake Shiganshina will officially commence. The next morning, all the scouts head out, receiving the greatest send-off in the Survey Corps history. Meanwhile, Bertold and Raynor are waiting for them there. The scouts arrive at Shiganshina at sunrise and use their maneuvering gear to scale the wall. Everyone is wearing their hoods so the enemy can't identify Aaron, who flies into the outer hole and uses his hardening abilities to seal it. Aaron blends back in and begins to head to the other gate, but everyone becomes suspicious because the enemies haven't revealed themselves yet. Erwin commands a team to start searching for the shifters, but isn't too worried because they're also hiding a secret weapon. Armin suspects they could be hiding within the walls, and he's right. Raynor comes out of hiding and is nearly killed by Levi before transforming inside the city. Suddenly, the Beast Titan appears and summons a wall of titans beside him. Then, he throws a boulder into the open gate, trapping them inside. The battle begins. Humanity versus the Titans. The Beast Titan is joined by a new shifter, the Cart Titan, and they send a wave of regular Titans forward in an attempt to eat the scouts' horses. The scouts split up, One team will go into the district to deal with Raynor, and the other will go to protect the horses. Erwin entrusts Levi specifically to kill the Beast Titan. Eren transforms inside the district to lure Raynor away from the horses, and it works. Eren begins to fight Raynor. Their battle is close, but the scouts reveal their hidden weapon, the Thunder Spears, which blow Raynor's head off. Unfortunately, killing Raynor is impossible because he has the ability to transfer his consciousness to other parts of his body, which basically means if he's fast enough, he doesn't need his head to live. Raynor lets out a scream, which informs the Beast Titan, who we learn is named Zeke, that he's in trouble. Zeke throws a barrel with Bertolt inside over the wall. Bertolt leaps out of the barrel and confirms that Raynor is alive. Armin tries to talk with Bertolt, but he flies off and transforms into the Colossal Titan, which completely nukes the district, killing all of the scouts within except Eren, Mikasa, Armin, Sasha, Connie, and John. On the other side of the wall, the Beast Titan begins crushing up boulders and throwing them towards the scouts like shotgun blasts. Erwin joins them and assesses the situation with Levi. It won't be long before the Beast Titan shreds every one of them. They have to make a move. Back to Eren's group, Eren tries to grapple Bertolt but gets knocked away. Everyone else tries to slice his neck, but Bertolt uses blasts of steam to keep them away. Also, Raynor is back up. Erwin stands tall and gives the most inspiring speech of all time, so everyone gets on their horses and charges at the Beast Titan head-on, giving the opportunity for Levi to attack from the side unchallenged. The Beast Titan continues pitching boulders, eviscerating all the scouts, including Erwin. And then Levi appears, having taken out all the Beast Titan's titans. Levi absolutely dominates the Beast Titan and drags Zeke out, cutting off his hands and jaw. He keeps him alive though in case he needs to use the Titan shot to have someone eat Zeke and save them. Suddenly, the Cart Titan appears, grabbing Zeke and taking off with him. Zeke commands the rest of the Titans to attack Levi. Among the bodies, a single soldier named Flock wakes up. Back inside the district, Armin notices that the more the Colossal Titan uses the steam burst, the thinner he gets, meaning that it can only be used so much. Armin thinks of a way they might be able to beat him, and he wakes Eren up and tells him. Mikasa and the other scouts continue their assault on Raynor using Thunder Spears, and Eren slips off the wall, falling to the ground below. Armin flies to Bertolt and grapples his bones, forcing him to spam all his uses of the steam burst, but Armin dies in the process. At the same time, Hanji appears, back from the grave, allowing Mikasa to deliver one last Thunder Spear to Raynor, incapacitating him. Eren flies from behind Bertolt, using his fallen body as a distraction the whole time. Eren rips Bertolt out of the Colossal Titan body, and then carries him to a nearby roof where Armin's burnt body is laying. Zeke and the Cart Titan have arrived, and Eren threatens to kill Bertolt. Zeke tells Eren that he knows Eren's father, and that they're both victims of him. Their conversation is cut short when Levi appears, and Zeke realizes that means it's time for him to get the heck out of there. Zeke tells Eren that he'll come back for him someday and save him, and he and the Cart Titan retreat, snatching Raynor from Hanji as they go. Suddenly, Armin starts to breathe again. At the same time, Flock arrives with a still-breathing Erwin strapped to his back. They're now faced with a decision. They have one Titan shot and one Titan shifter for the new Titan to eat. Will they give it to Armin or Erwin? After fighting amongst themselves, Levi chooses to save Erwin, but once alone, he changes his mind last minute and saves Armin. Armin eats Bertolt and becomes the Colossal Titan, and Erwin is put to rest. Armin has a nightmare but wakes up to his friends surrounding him, and they inform him about what happened. Hanji decides that she, Eren, Mikasa, and Levi will go to the basement while everyone else recovers. They make their way to the basement, only to find out Eren's key doesn't fit, so Levi just kicks down the door and they head in. It looks like a normal basement, but they find a secret keyhole in the desk, which is what Eren's key is actually for. Opening the secret drawer, they find 3 books. Within the books are all the answers. The first, and the biggest revelation, is that humanity has not perished. The world we know is actually just a small island called Paradis, a number of miles off the shore of a nation called Marley, where Eren's father and all the Titan shifters are from. Within the nation of Marley exists internment zones, where the Eldian race is segregated. Grisha is an Eldian, so he lives in one of those internment camps with his mother, father, and sister, Faye. About 2,000 years ago, their ancestor, Ymir Fritz, made a deal with the devil and gained Titan powers. Then, after her death, her soul was split into 9 Titans, who used their power to build the nation of Eldia and wage war on the nation of Marley. The Eldians then began ethnic cleansing for hundreds of years, until Marley got control of 7 of the 9 Titans and won the war. The king of the Eldians at that time fled to a nearby island and erected the giant walls we know so well, claiming that if anyone tries to mess with him, he would unleash the millions of Titans within the walls and flatten the earth. However, the descendants of the Eldians he left behind that day are now the ones being held in the internment camps within Marley. Only Eldians can become Titan shifters, so the Marleyans grant freedom to the families of any child who becomes a warrior for their nation. Years later, once Grisha was 18, he joined a group called the Eldian Restorationists, who seek to restore the kingdom of Eldia because they believe that Ymir was actually a saint, who used her powers for the good of mankind, not the devil Marley claims she was. The Eldian Restorationists also have a spy working for them who's somewhere within the Marley ranks. In this group, Grisha also meets a descendant of the royal family named Dina Fritz, who he ends up marrying and has a child with. This child is Zeke. All of the Restorationists form a plan. They will enlist Zeke into the warriors and have him go to Paradis Island, and recover the founding Titan. He won't be recovering it for Marley, but for them. However, in a twist of events, when Zeke turned 7, he turned on his parents and exposed the entire Restorationist group to the Marleyan government, who sent them all to Paradise for eternal punishment. Once transported to Paradis Island, The Restorationists are injected with Titan Serum, where they turn into Titans and head towards the City of the Walls, including Grisha's wife Dina, who turns into the Titan who ate Aaron's mother. All the guards except Kruger and Gross walk back to the boat, and Kruger suddenly pushes Gross off the wall into the Titans below, revealing himself to be both the spy working for the Restorationists and a Titan shifter himself. Kruger destroys the Marleyan ships and reveals that the Titan shifters live a maximum of 13 years after gaining their powers, and he's out of time. So he entrusts his final mission to Grisha. He will turn Grisha into a Titan and let himself get eaten. Grisha will go into the walls and reclaim the founding Titan, for Eldia. He then explains that all Eldians are connected by paths. Distance and time plays no factor. In fact, if a Titan shifter dies without passing on their power, it'll just be given to a random Eldian child. All the invisible paths connect at one single point, the coordinate, the founding Titan. Titan Grisha will inherit from Kruger has always, no matter the age, pursued freedom. Its name is the Attack Titan. Before making the injection, Kruger tells Grisha to make a family inside the walls, because if he can't love someone, he'll be doomed to make the same mistakes, over and over. Eren wakes up and contemplates with Mikasa and Armin about the information they've learned. However, they're cut short because they have an audience with Queen Historia and the Council. Right before the meeting, Historia reads a letter given to her by Rainer before Zeke saved him. This letter confirms that Ymir is dead. But once the meeting starts, the entire group tries to strategize about what their next move should be, now that the entire world is essentially their enemy. During this meeting, Eren realizes that the way he can activate his coordinate powers is by physical contact with someone who has royal blood. He chooses not to tell anyone this out of fear that the council would make Eren eat Historia or something crazy like that. The council isn't sure what the next move is, but they decide that they must tell the public what they've learned. Word spreads like wildfire and the public has mixed reactions to the news. All the soldiers think about what they should do next, and Eren and Armin have a heart-to-heart, both of them remembering their dream to see the ocean. We then cut to a ceremony congratulating the scouts on their successful mission. When Eren kisses Historia's hand, he feels a jolt, and he sees something. 1 year later, humanity has managed to eliminate nearly all the Titans from the island, because for some reason, Marley must have stopped sending them. The scouts ride past Wall Maria for the first time in 6 years, and finally, Eren, Mikasa, Armin, and the others make it to their destination, the ocean. Everyone takes off their shoes and plays around in the water, laughing the whole time, but Eren stands alone. No smile on his face. Eren points off into the distance and hopelessly asks his friends if he kills everyone on the other side, will they finally be free?
4 years have passed. Marleyan Empire is at war with the Middle East Alliance. Introduces the new warrior candidates, Colt, Gabi, Falco, Udo, and Zafia. Marley is able to secure victory thanks to Gabi blowing up a train that has an anti-Titan cannon, and they use their Titans that Marley controls to trample the Middle East Alliance forces. In a military meeting, they talk about how it really wasn't a great victory, that the world is adapting to the Titans and making new weapons to counter them. Zeke, with now only a year left, asks to continue Operation Paradis. They are hesitant, as over the last 3 years, 32 ships have been lost going to the island. The Eldians are sent back home to Liberio to be with their families. It's worth noting that Reiner and Gabi are cousins. The next day, the warriors meet to discuss going to Paradis and taking the founding Titan. Also, it's the first time hearing of the Warhammer Titan that is in the Tiber family, which are Eldian nobles. Then goes into Reiner's backstory of how he really wasn't supposed to be the armor, and then Marcel talked bad about his brother Porco so he wouldn't be a Titan. Then once on Paradis, as you know, Ymir ate Marcel, and Annie and Borkel wanted to leave, but Reiner made them stay, and that's when they went to destroy the walls. In the present, however, Reiner's about to kill himself as he hears Falco's voice and he stops himself, which Falco has befriended Eren, who is pretending to be injured. After they talk a couple times, Eren gets Falco to send some letters off for him. Commander Theo meets with Willie Tiber, head of the Tiber family, and they discuss a plan to unite all the world against Paradis. He learns the Tiber family is the true rulers of Marley, but they rule from the shadows, and that they're going to hold a festival and bring in VIPs from all over to Liberio to unite them against Paradis. After talking to Falco, Eren meets his grandfather, and they talk for a while until his grandfather has a mental breakdown after Eren asks if he has any regrets. The next day is the festival. Falco brings Reiner to Eren, who's in a solitary room, and Eren tells Reiner to sit and Falco's to stay, and Reiner notices that Eren has already cut his hand. Falco's confused, thinking that Eren is one of Reiner's friends, then realizing he was used and that the letters were sent to the scouts who are on their way. Eren then goes into his reasonings for doing what he's doing, in the end telling Reiner that they are just the same. Willie begins his speech. Someone is sent to get the warriors. Peek and Porco are then trapped in a hole, and they send Zeke somewhere else. Willie tells the true story of King Fritz, and then about the rumbling, and then says that the world's enemy is Eren. He asks the world to come together, and this is a declaration of war. Eren then transforms and eats Willie. He starts to trample the city, then the Warhammer Titan finally shows up and they start to fight. Peek and Porco are able to escape, and as they get out, they see a bunch of people in ODM gear. The Warhammer can't be taken out by removing the nape. The body is somewhere else, and Eren finds it underground, and the body is encased in hardening. Porco is able to bite Eren's nape, but Levi shows up, saving Eren. Marley and forces show up to the port, but Armin is there, and once he transforms, the fleet is decimated. Eren realizes that the jaw is strong enough to break the hardening, and he uses Porco to crush the hardening and absorbs the Warhammer Titan. As he goes to eat Porco, Reiner saves him. The scouts begin their retreat, and Gabi and Falco are able to get onto the blimp. Gabi, who has a rifle, shoots and kills Sasha. They're apprehended and brought before Eren and Zeke, who turns out to be the mastermind behind the whole operation. Now, 3 years ago, the first ship to arrive in Paradis, and an anti-Marleyan volunteer group were assembled by Zeke. They want to help modernize Paradis and set the Eldian people free. Back inside the walls, Hanji reports that Zeke says he can save the world if they have a Titan with royal blood and the founding Titan. They don't believe Zeke, and then Eren says that it's all true, that the only time he has ever been able to use the Founder's power is when he touched a Titan with royal blood. In the present, they return to Paradis, bury Sasha. Eren, Gabi, and Falco are in prison. Levi and Zeke go into the forest so he can keep an eye on him. The volunteers are arrested after handing over all vials of the Titan serum they have. Now 2 years in the past, after making a port in Paradis, they get their first visitors from the outside world. People from the Asian clan come. They learn that Mikasa is actually from a line of royals accidentally left on the island. Kiyomi wants to help them, but is in it for the iceburst material in Paradis, and they're meeting due to Zeke. They lay out Zeke's plan to test the rumbling, have Hizuru's cooperation to bolster Paradis' military so that the rumbling won't be necessary anymore, and that the founding Titan must be passed on with royal blood. Hanji says the rumbling should be a last resort, and wants to explore other options, and negotiations ultimately fail through. Back in the present, the scouts discuss what to do if in fact Eren knew about Zeke's plan, and Armin and Mikasa want to go talk to him. Someone has leaked that Eren has been arrested and the people aren't happy about it. Gabi then kills a guard and escapes with Falco. They are taken in by Sasha's family, and Kaya knows that they are Marleyan, but doesn't say anything about it. Instead, brings them to the village where her mom was killed, asking Gabi what the people on the island ever did to be called devils. After, Kaya tells them that the family is going to see a Marleyan, and maybe he can help them return home. Pixis talks to Yelena about having a secret meeting with Eren. While she didn't necessarily tell him to infiltrate Marley, she did, however, want to force the hand of the Paradis government. Armin and Mikasa go to see Zachary about seeing Eren. They are denied, and as they leave his office, it blows up. Eren has escaped from jail, meeting up with some of his supporters, and Frosch says that there are more inside the military, including those who killed Zachary. He says Eren is the only one who can save the Eldian Empire. Eren then tells the group to find out where Zeke is being kept. Once they learn of Eren's escape, they worked on finding and making sure that him and Zeke don't meet. They dubbed this new group the Jaegerists. Then we catch a glimpse of Peak, who has infiltrated Paradis, with Sasha's family. They go to eat the meal cooked by Niccolo. Scouts show up. Gabi tells Niccolo that she's the one that killed Sasha and he losed it, bashing Falco's head with a wine bottle, taking them both hostage, bringing them to Sasha's family, saying that Gabi is the one that killed Sasha, and he wants revenge, but Mr. Brosh says he won't, but Kayla tries to kill her. After, this is when everyone learns that the Marleyan wine brought may have Zeke's spinal fluid in it, and to wash out Falco's mouth. Niccolo isn't 100% sure about the wine, but Yelena told him to only serve it to high-ranking officers. Armin and Mikasa have taken Gabi into another room. This is when Eren and the Jaegerists show up. Frosch says he will have Hanji take him to Zeke and tells Eren that they're going on ahead. Eren wants to talk to Mikasa and Armin. Armin questions Eren over attacking Liberio. Eren declares that he chose to do it of his own free will, though Mikasa disagrees, believing that he's being manipulated. Angered, he begins to chastise the two for their lack of freedom, Armin for being manipulated by Bertholdt's memories, and Mikasa for her Ackerman heritage. Speaking in disgust, Eren tells Mikasa that he's always hated her. Eren and Armin begin to fight, though the former is quickly beaten. Eren then tells them that they're going to Shiganshina with him. With Levi, the scouts have been told Pixis' plan to take Zeke's Titan. Zeke then runs, Levi goes after him, which he lets out a scream, turning all the scouts who drink the wine into Titans. Also, Eldians elsewhere feel the same sort of sensation, and they all know what happened. Levi then kills the Titans and captures Zeke, sticking a thunder spear in his stomach with a detonator wrapped around his neck. As he falls unconscious, we go into his backstory. He wasn't the best at training as a kid, and Grisha wasn't happy about that, as his plan rested in Zeke's hands. This is when Zeke met the Beast Titan, Tom. They become friends. Tom tells him he became a Titan so he could understand the mysteries behind the Titans rather than fight. Zeke then turns in his parents and the Restorationists at the advice of Tom. Sometime later, Tom's health begins to fade, and he reveals to Zeke that he discovered through his research that the Founding Titan, in addition to altering memories, has the capability of changing the very body composition of subjects of Ymir as well. Zeke suggests that if that's true, the Founder could be used to sterilize the subjects of Ymir and eradicate them in about 100 years. He also tells Zeke how to get around Karl Fritz's vow of renouncing war. Years after inheriting the beast, he meets Eren in Liberia, and they discuss his euthanization plan. Zeke then regains consciousness and sets off the Thunder Sphere, blowing his body into two and blowing Levi away. And Titan comes and puts Zeke in its stomach. Levi is nowhere to be found. With the 104th group imprisoned, Yelena comes to talk about how Zeke and Eren will save the Eldians and his euthanization plan. After telling him about the plan, Yelena is informed that the Marleyans have come. Eren goes to grab Gabi and is stopped by Peak. She says she's willing to help them. Eren asks Peak to prove that she's willing to help him and his cause. She then offers to show him where the infiltrators are in town, but they'll have to go to the roof so she can. Eren accepts, and they go up to the roof. Once there, Eren asks where the enemy is, and Peak points at him. The floor beneath him crumbles, and the jaw emerges through the stone in an attempt to eat him. Porco fails to eat Eren, severing his legs at the knees, and Eren transforms before Porco can attack again. Then up above, a fleet of blimps from the Marleyan army has arrived.
The season starts off with us finding out that our boy Levi is critically injured. Hanji lies to Flock and the Jaeger saying that Levi is dead, but Flock asks to check his pulse. Suddenly, Zeke plops out of the Titan who ate him. The shock of Zeke being alive buys Hanji time to escape into the river with Levi. In the meantime, Zeke explains that on his deathbed, his consciousness was transported to an unknown location where a small girl molded his body back together with soil. Zeke said that the process felt like it lasted years but also ended in an instant. Finally, we go back to where last season ended, Eren facing Marley's surprise attack. Peak tells Gabi that she would never betray her and that her allegiance is forever with those that fought by her side. Yelena tells Eren to retreat because they're outnumbered. Reiner's redemption! Eren's pretty OP because of all the powers he stole. Reiner is still able to keep Eren busy, allowing Porco and Peak to launch attacks to wear Eren down. Peak says that they must take down Eren to prevent him from coming in contact with Zeke, as that would unite the royal blood and founding titan powers. Reiner then takes one of the white spikes that Eren created using his Warhammer power and impales him with it. Oyankopon talking about how he's sorry. Oyankopon releases Jean, the chef, Armin, and Mikasa. They go back and forth on ideologies and whether they should support Eren or not, but they do not arrive at a unanimous agreement. The episode returns back to the light scuffle and ends off with Eren screaming into the sky in aggravation. We return back to the disagreement being had in episode 1 on whether or not the group should be with or against Eren. They ultimately come to the conclusion that they should help Eren so they can talk to him and understand his intentions. As they move towards the battlefield, Mikasa is still uncertain on whether it's true or not that Ackermans have an uncontrolled will to protect him. Armin says that Eren is likely lying about Mikasa's headache being a symptom of that, as it's something they all knew as kids. 1v3 seems to be a difficult challenge, but how about a 2v3? Suddenly, Zeke makes his surprise entrance, saving Eren with his bullet-like stones. Zeke continues to take down airships and knock down Reiner anytime he tries to prevent Eren from walking towards him. The squad gets ready for the battlefield, and in the process, Mikasa takes off Eren's red scarf. Armin and friends then join Yelena on the rooftop, where Yelena is seemingly enjoying the chaotic revolution that is set to unfold. As a free man walking, Falco spots his brother and Gabi, both of whom were looking for him. One of the Eldian soldiers reunites them safely, shocking all three of them. Gabi later overhears her foster parents wishing for her safety even after finding out about her identity. She realizes that those on Parody are human just like her and that she's been wrong in calling them devils. Back on the battlefield, Peak plays dead in order to lower Zeke's guard. Magato then blasts Zeke's neck with a destructive hit, causing Zeke to nosedive off the wall. As he's in critical condition, it appears that Zeke may be forced to scream in order to defend himself. The episode ends off with Eren continuing to limp towards Zeke. Porco does his best to stop Eren, the Jaegers continue to be flies, and Peak continues to be a fly swatter. As this is happening, Pixies leads his men to fend off the Marleyan soldiers on the front line. Armin tells his squad that they should go for the card Titan in the meantime. Once again, Eren is being immobilized by Reiner, putting them at stalemate. Colt pleads to Zeke to wait until Falco is outside the range of his scream, but with a morally guilty heart, Zeke decides to scream anyways. Falco tells Colt to move away, but Colt says that his brother will stay by his side until the end. Falco then begins to shift into a Titan in front of Gabi. Everyone else who drank the spinal fluid also transform into Titans. As a Titan, Falco looks hideous like some sleep paralysis demon. Zeke commands Falco to attack Reiner, but Reiner just handles him and Eren at the same time. Eventually, Reiner decides to weaken his armor to pass the torch of the armor Titan to Falco. However, Pork has other plans in mind. Porco says he's unable to regenerate any longer and that he's seen memories of Marcel explaining how Reiner became the armor Titan for the sake of protecting Porco. With everything in mind, Porco saves his closest friend by sacrificing himself. This distraction is used by Eren to crystallize Reiner in place so he can make his escape. He runs towards Zeke, and before Reiner can stop him, Connie and Jean come to his rescue. Suddenly, in the corner of his eye, Eren spots Gabi, who takes the shot of her life. The bullet hits Eren in the neck and completely decapitates him. The show jumps to a flashback of Zeke and Eren discussing the euthanization plan. To tie the knot on their mutual agreement, Zeke throws Eren his baseball, but Eren fails to catch it. We then go back to the battlefield, where the show displays one of the coolest animated shots I've ever seen. The time-frozen camera work perfectly portrays the chaos and reveals that Zeke managed to catch Eren's head. As Zeke was able to make contact with Eren before he passed on, he gets transported to an unknown location where all paths converge. Zeke tells Eren that this is likely where all the royal family members come when inheriting the founder. Similar to last time, Zeke says he's been waiting for so long, as a moment in the real world feels like years in that space-time. The small girl returns and Zeke claims that she's the founder Ymir. Zeke's like, yo, now's our chance to commence the euthanization of all Eldians, but Eren's like, nah, I only used you to get here. Eren states he has no intention of following through with the plan, shocking Zeke. Eren walks towards the girl to receive his absolute power, but she walks to Zeke instead. Zeke then reveals that Eren was only the key to enter and that he's unable to do anything without the agreeing will of the royal blood. Zeke tells Eren that he's been brainwashed by their father, but Eren continues to believe that Eldians should have a future as he himself was born into this world. The episode ends off with Zeke headbutting Eren.
And the two brothers head back through their father's memories together, as Zeke is determined to save Eren from his brainwashing. Eren states that he was never brainwashed to begin with, and when they reach the memory of Grisha confronting the Rice family, it is revealed that the Attack Titan has the power to see the future. Then, much to the surprise of Zeke, Eren encourages his father in his own memory to fight on, and he slaughters the Rice family and inherits the Founding Titan. Grisha is remorseful of what he has done, and directly apologizes to Zeke for what a terrible father he had been to him. Then he requests that he stop Eren, and Zeke returns them back to the coordinate. Then, in order to stop his brother, Zeke orders the founder Ymir to make all Eldians unable to reproduce, and Eren rips out of his chains to stop her. 2,000 years ago, the founder Ymir is serving as a slave for the tribe of Eldia, and after being blamed by her fellow slaves for letting a pig escape its pen, she is chased down by the king's soldiers in a hunt for sport. She runs into a tree and falls down its chasm into a body of water, where a strange spine-like creature fuses with her, turning her into the first Titan. She uses the power in the king's service, and targets the people of Marley in his name. Then the king deems her worthy to impregnate, and they have 3 children together, Maria, Rose, and Sheena. When one day Ymir jumps in front of a spear aimed at the king, he has his 3 daughters eat every last bit of her body to salvage her power. On the king's deathbed, he orders his daughters to reproduce and multiply, making sure to feed the spines of each generation to the next, in order for Eldia to reign supreme forever. Back in the coordinate, Eren reaches Ymir, and breaks her free of her slave mindset. Then he transforms into the Founding Titan, and all of the walls collapse, as the Titans within them awaken. So, the rumbling begins, and Eren speaks to all subjects of Ymir to tell them his plan, to protect Paradise Island by eradicating all life beyond its shores. When they're snapped back to reality, Eren's friends argue over the morality of his actions. Then Connie takes the unconscious Falco and runs to feed him to his mom, so she can inherit the Jaw Titan and return through a human form. Meanwhile, Gabi leaves an unconscious Reiner to heal in an abandoned house, while she goes to rescue Falco. On her way, she saves Kaya from a Titan, and joins the Browse family in finding a place to hide, as she and Kaya reconcile. At the same time, the Eldian soldiers gather together to wipe out the final pure Titans transformed by Zeke, and Commander Pixis, as well as the other officers, are finally laid to rest by their comrades. After they finish taking care of the Titans, Armin and Mikasa find the Browse family underground, and Gabi begs Armin to find a way to help her save Falco. When she mentions that Reiner's hardening had come undone when the walls collapsed, Armin has a realization, and in Trost District, Annie awakens from her long slumber. She has a confrontation with her former roommate Hitch, but her weakened body is unable to make good on her strong threats. Hitch then helps her escape, and Annie tells her the story of how she was abandoned by her mother, who had an affair with a Marlian, and was then picked up by a foreigner with Eldian blood. He trained her to be an honorary Marlian, so he could have a better life. And even after all the pain he caused her, he apologized to her on the day she left for Paradise Island, and made her promise to come back to him. In Shiganshina, Armin resolves to help Gabi save Falco, as she and Armin speed on to Ragako village. As they do so, Jean watches Floch use the power of fear to keep the volunteers in check, now that they know their homelands are doomed. Elsewhere, Hanji, with Levi in tow, approaches Peak and General Magat with a proposal to band together to stop Eren. So, night falls, and the rumbling continues, with each of our heroes contemplating what to do next in this grim situation. The next day, Armin and Gabi catch up to Connie, who is ready to drop Falco in his mother's mouth. But before he can, Armin sacrifices himself to save Falco, but Connie stops him. Then Armin encourages him to help save some people like his mother wanted, so they head back to grab some food before figuring out their next move. At their table, they find Annie stuffing her face with pie. Then she joins them on their path, and leaves a note for Hitch, thanking her for everything. Floch and Jean then prepare to execute Yelena and Onyarkopon. Though Jean misses his shot, then the cart titan swoops in to swallow Jean and the prisoners. This was part of a plan to safely escape the Jaegerists, and the group that escaped prepared to band together despite their differences, to save the world. Then the group head to the port where the Azumabito have a flying boat stationed to observe the rumbling, which they plan to use to stop Eren. When they arrive, they find the Jaegerists occupying the port, and they come up with a plan to steal the flying boat without any casualties. They enter the port and yell at Floch to free the Azumabito mechanics to service the boat so they can chase after the cart titan. Then Armin and Connie convince their friends Daz and Samuel to remove the explosives from the boat. In the building, Kiyomi Azumabito assaults Floch, and before she can be killed, Mikasa rescues her. Then Floch informs everyone that Mikasa, Armin, and Connie have betrayed Eldia. Unfortunately, Connie is forced to kill Daz and Samuel, as the bloodshed begins, with the armored and female titans entering the fray as well. The Azumabitos say they have a hangar to the south where they can service the boat, but whether the rumbling will get there first is a gamble. Nevertheless, the soldiers fend off the Jaegerists as the engineers service the boat, and Falco joins the fight as a Jaw Titan as well. Then everyone except General Magath boards the ship as they set sail. The general is joined by Commandant Shadis and boarding the only other ship the Jaegerists can use to catch up with, and the two old-timers share a moment of respect as they build themselves and the ship to smithereens. On the ship, Annie breaks down after hearing there's nothing they can do to save Liberio, and she asks Mikasa again if she can kill Eren or stand by while she kills him. Finally, the global combined fleet gather to stop the rumbling from progressing, and even with every large cannon known to man assembled together, they barely put a dent in the army of colossal titans, as Eren continues to command them to wipe every last enemy of Eldia from the world.
It begins with a recap of the first episode of the series. Eren is asleep, and Mikasa slowly reaches to wake him up while calling out his name. He wakes up from a long sleep and wonders where he is. Mikasa turns around after picking up the firewood and sees Eren crying all of a sudden. The scene shifts to a forest where two brothers are seen, Ramsey and Halil. Their conversation is interrupted by a group of passers-by who are fleeing the city. They wonder what could have happened. The ground starts to shake. When Ramsey looks to see what is going on, he is horrified to see an army of titans marching across the land. As they try to outrun the rumbling while running with the crowd, Ramsey accidentally trips over and unfortunately drops his money, and Halil attempts to retrieve it. Ramsey tries to stop Halil from going back, but the titans have started to destroy the city. The two are both hit by falling debris from the titans' demolition of nearby buildings, crippling Ramsey and killing Halil. The rumbling of the titans continues indiscriminately, demolishing countless of the city one after the other and killing millions of people who are trying to escape from them. On a boat, Armin and Annie talk. Annie invites him to sit beside her. While talking about various things, Armin tells her that he likes her. This takes Annie by shock. She asks why he likes her. But Armin couldn't reply. On a remote docking area, there's a plane in the hangar. Jean and Connie towards the plane to check its condition. Mikasa chats with Annie and thanks her for staying with them. Annie thanks her for accepting her in the group after all the problems she has caused. An injured Levi tries to walk down the stairs with Armin by his side to assist him. Hanji, Levi, Armin, Peek and Kiyomi gather around Yelena, who is bedridden. They discuss how Zeke's and Eren's plans to destroy the world can be stopped. Thorough maintenance and repair is done so that the plane can fill the next day. After this is done, the plane is loaded for takeoff. Hanji debriefs the squad on the mission. Levi struggles to control his gear as pulling the trigger is harder with two missing fingers. Annie leaves on a ship and Armin and Mikasa bid their farewell. The squad is making finish up and getting ready to board the plane after doing the final checks necessary. Flock, drenched in water, sneakily enters the hangar and points a gun at them and starts shooting arbitrarily. He hits and damages the plane but doesn't kill anyone. Before Flock could kill anybody, Mikasa uses her gear to attack Flock. Flock dies of excess bleeding. Onyankopon finds and reports to Hanji that the plane is hit and unfit for flight. This shocks everyone, as now they won't be able to outrun the Titans. One of the men thinks he can repair the damaged area somehow. Other men gather the tools and begin working on it. It will take a few moments to repair, says the man. The tools on the table start to shake, signaling that the Titans are approaching. The whole hangar shakes as the Titans tumble down the hill into the port city. Armin thinks of killing some of the Titans to buy time for the rest, but others disagree with him. Hanji steps up to the job. As the captain, she should be the one doing it instead of Armin. She appoints Armin as the next captain in case she doesn't return. She asks him to take care of everyone and says goodbye to all. Hanji dives into action, swinging from building to building toward the Titan. She is in awe because of her love of the Titans, but this doesn't stop her from killing the Titans one after the other. Titan bodies pile on top of one another, and Hanji swings from below and takes down the Titans. Meanwhile, the plane is repaired and everyone starts boarding. Rubble from the rumbling falls on the hangar. Hanji quickly finishes off the Titan closest to the hangar. The propellers start to rotate as Jean and Reiner push out the plane for takeoff. Unfortunately, the steam and heat from the Titans set Hangi's cape on fire. But that doesn't stop her from giving her all to help her friends escape. Her gear explodes because of that, and she meets her demise. She wakes up in the afterlife, under a clear sky. She is surrounded by her fallen comrades, and we see Erwin for the last time. She is a bit confused, but that doesn't bother her as she sees the plane flying up in the sky. The squad briefly grieves the loss of their captain, and they then start devising a plan to stop Eren, the founder Titan. Levi thinks of blowing up the Titan with bombs. Armin agrees as this could be the only possible way of stopping it, but he doesn't want to kill Eren. He asks if he could be stopped without killing him. Before they could come up with anything, they are teleported to the way of path they are connected to. The squad got a bit scared because of this. They start calling out for Eren one by one. Eren tells that he would continue his plan and won't stop till he achieves freedom. Levi spots a silhouette of Eren in the distance below the Tree of Life. After reaching closer to him, they see Ymir standing beside him with an expressionless face. Eren tells them that now they have only one goal, which is to fight. The squad is transported back to the plane. They seem to have lost all hope after listening to Eren. Gabi and Falco walk up to Annie to tell her that have had a dream of Zeke. They explain that they saw Eren's founding Titan absorbing the powers of the other Titans. Annie is shocked to hear this. They explain further and Annie carefully listens. A train stop in a desolate place and people run out of the train and eventually gather around the edge of a cliff. A huge cloud of steam is visible, through which two men spot the founding Titan. To stop the Titan's blimps filled with bombs are sent over. The man from the outpost speaks through the speaker that this is humanity's last try at stopping the Titans and surviving. He says that there is no reason to be afraid as the world will see a new tomorrow. This is where they destroy the Titans. The founding Titan sees the blimps overhead and creates the Beast Titan using the Hammer Titan's power. The soldiers panic and orders to start throwing the bombs on the Titans. A series of bombs are dropped on the Titans, setting them ablaze. Multiple bombardments on the founding Titan damages it a bit. Takedown the blimps uses the Beast Titans to throw projectiles at the blimps. The projectile hit the airships and destroys a large number of them with each shot. The last hope of humanity, according to the soldiers, has been reduced to ashes. A kid points at the sky, signifying that it's not yet over. The plane of the squad reaches close to the Titan while dodging the projectile thrown by the Beast Titan. Levi rushes towards the Beast Titan as swings forward. He closes in on the Beast Titan, dodging projectiles on way. He maneuvers through the back of the Titan to reach the Beast Titan, and others follow him one after the other. Reiner follows Levi and lands on the Titan and transforms into the armored Titan.
How was the video? We hope it was good. If so, please check these videos. Also, please comment down your thoughts and your suggestions for future videos. If you haven't already, please consider subscribing now to show the support to our channel. We hope to see you soon with another video right in this channel. Have a nice day.